One of the movie we both covered this week, we both watched the Hellraiser 4K, which is kind of stunning. I was really a little nervous about this one. This was a Fathom event, came to local theaters. You might have seen it. It's the Arrow 4K transfer, and it is a really good looking copy of Hellraiser. Let me tell you. Like, I figured Hellraiser might come off looking bad after all these years. Came out in '87. Clive Barker directed. A lot of gooey practical effects, right? Things coming back from the dead. But no, it looks great. I was a little worried it was going to be some kind of like James Cameron AI upscale. Looks terrible. No, dude, the Hellraiser 4K looks tremendous, and I was really cool to see it in a theater. I don't know how people watched this in 1987. Man, it must have been the wildest time coming out of that movie theater because it's a trip now. What'd you think, Andy?
Yeah, really cool to see and revisit. I did notice some things like it allegedly takes place in like New York, the reference, Brooklyn and stuff, but it's clearly in England, and every other person has a British accent, which is really funny. But it is such an effective movie. It's so squelchy and squishy and gross, and those effects still look good to this day. It's a whole like psychosexual thing going on, and it reminds me that Pinhead, as famous as and iconic as he is not the main antagonist of the film. It's Julia Cotton and Frank Cotton, and their whole love affair. So it's interesting how entire series kind of takes a turn and becomes all about the Cenobites later. But it was a lot of fun. And I thought it looked really good. Really enjoyed the score, and again, the effects are so effective still.
Yeah, it's like a special effects showcase. It's just one after another. Like, especially in the transformation scenes, like it's like reverse footage of blood going into nail holes, cut to like explosion of gore, cut to miniatures. Like, it all comes together so good in a movie that otherwise like would seem relatively unassuming. It's just a bunch of people in a house and there's a creepy room upstairs, but no, there's like this whole layer of weird. I would always compare it in my head to like the Mummy from '99 with Brendan Fraser and Rachel Weisz, because you've got Imhotep in that movie, the Mummy, like slowly coming back by sucking up the souls of people around him, one by one, and restoring his flesh back to full power. Like, it's really great. And yeah, like I always forget that Pinhead is totally not a big deal in the first Hellraiser. Like, the Cenobites are really just kind of a little bit of icing around the cake. Like, they are by no means the main feature, but man, everybody jumped on them, and that they made Hellraiser 2, which was like direct summer sequel, right? And then now we got like 9 Hellraiser movies. Someday we could marathon all of those, I guess.
9 Hellraisers. Yeah, I think the first 3 are theatrical. After that, they're all straight to DVD, straight to streaming.
Yeah. Either way, dude. Like, the movie looks so fantastic. Like, really pleased. I figured going to see it in a theater, like, it's gonna look grainy or not hold up, but like, nah, dude. Absolutely tremendous. Really thought it was great. Would recommend Hellraiser 4K. Rock solid. Andy, what's been on your watch list? You have been watching something particularly interesting, I think, that fans of the show may not be aware of. Please fill us in.
That's right. That's right. I've been going through the entire Final Destination series. I went through the whole thing, all 5 films so far, because there's a new one coming out, Final Destination Bloodlines, which comes out this summer. And I was talking with my good friend Andra, friend of the show, who was also watching them. And so I decided to just dive in. I'd only seen the first one, and I hadn't seen it in like 20 years. And so decided to take the plunge. The first one is by far the best. It's actually really still pretty creepy. The big plane explosion at the beginning is really pretty scary. And I was like, this would be terrifying in a theater because it makes you feel like you're on this plane that's exploded and about to crash. They kind of vary in quality. 3 is also really strong. That's the one that has Mary Elizabeth Winstead, who's acting circles around everyone. It has the big roller coaster derailment in the beginning. 2 has the famous, infamous highway crash where the log falls off a logging truck. Everyone is still scared to that to this day. Then they start to kind of dip in quality. 4 is the turn to digital film. There's a bunch of no names, a bunch of computer, some CGI, and it all looks real bad. It's also very short. It's only like 75 minutes long. 5 gets back to basics. We have a better story, still a lot of unnamed actors, but it's creepier. It's got some good kills. The CGI, there's a bridge collapse in the 5th one that starts it off, and it looks real bad. But after that, it kind of picks back up. So fun series, originally created by the creators of the X-Files, which kind of makes sense in why that first one is still really effective.
I've seen maybe the first one all the way through. I might have seen the second one all the way through. I know I haven't watched 3, 4, and 5. I just never got around to them. They were just kind of like the movie of the summer for a while. Had you seen them before, burning through all these?
Just the first one. Just the first one. I've seen the first one a couple times, and then just managed to miss them since then.
Would recommend as a series before 6? Because I figured I'd just walk into Bloodlines like blind and just see what's coming.
Yeah, I mean, I think the first one is worth rewatching because that one is really good. If we're going to rank them, which I did thought through these power rankings, I would go with 1, which is the original, kicks off the idea. It is really creepy and really scary. Lots of tension, lots of misdirection. 3 is really strong. That's one that stars Mary Elizabeth Winstead, where she's acting circles around everyone and has that's the roller coaster one, roller coaster derailment, terrifying as well. 5 gets back to basics, like I said, and then it's 2, which is the big crash, the highway crash scene. There's lots of explosions in these films for some reason. Like, they blow up everything. They were really happy to be blowing up stuff, especially in those first 3 films when they were actually doing practical explosions. And then 4 is probably the worst one. Like I said, it's not very good. But I mean, these were like $20 to $40 million films, and they made huge amounts of money. They made between $100 and $200 million back in the 90s. So they were very successful for what they were. And we've kind of lost that mid-range, that middle budget film. So it'll be interesting to see what Final Destination Bloodlines is.